Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and it's time for the Monday Morning Podcast for Monday, October 7th, 2024. Whoa, what's going on? Oh, yeah. How's it go? Oh, Jesus, October 7th. You know what? I'm going to fucking start Christmas shopping right now. I'm going to knock it out. Right? Just knock it out. Get it. What do you want? Huh? What do you want now? That's what they should call this time of year, unless you're shopping for kids. Okay, but if you got to buy something for an adult, that should literally be what you say. It's not Merry Christmas. It's not Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. It's like, what the fuck do you want now? Don't you have enough shit? Can't you just one year just be like, you know what? I don't want anything. You know what would be great? Just fucking chilling out and having no bills in January. Wouldn't that be awesome? Ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba. Oh, it's the holiday season. It starts with Halloween. And no one really knows that except for kids and gay people. Everybody thinks it starts on fucking Thanksgiving. It doesn't. It starts October 31st. So I'm with the kids right now. I'm trying to figure out, what the costumes are. My son's going to be Angus Young from AC/DC. And then my daughter has some ideas. We went to this costume store, and they just have shit. You know what I mean? Some fucking Spider-Man thing, a Superman thing, Batman. And then you walk down the street, there's like 15 Thors, 48 Batmans, 26 Spider-Men. And it's just like, we all went to the same store, didn't we? We all went to the same store. Look at it. Look at it. It looks like they go to a private school and say fucking uniform, except it's Halloween. You got to come up with your own shit. So, and that's what one of the things I like most about Halloween, other than seeing all of the adorable kids, is some of the costumes that people come up with. I always forget them. I'm trying to think. I remember one year we used to have, before the pandemic and all this bullshit fucked everything up, we used to have this kids' Halloween party. And this woman had like a toddler. And he had, his hair was just growing in. And she took cotton balls and put it on the side of his head so he looked like he was bald, and then put granny glasses on him, and then made a little walker and dressed him up like an old man. It was one of the coolest and funniest. And the kid was a chill kid, so he didn't try to take the glasses off. And he was just sitting there all happy, eating candy. And he was just sort of walking around with his walker. It was they don't make that. If you try to sell that in a store, it's like, really? Old people with disabilities is a costume to you? These are the kind of things. I flew back from Tacoma today. Had a great friggin' weekend. Even though I threw out my back. I threw out my back stretching before I went to the gym so I wouldn't fuck up my back. And it was literally the first... It's an old one. It's the first time I ever fucked up my back. I was 14, playing football. Not organized, My family was antisocial. So it was just, bunch of kids playing in your school clothes, running around beating the shit out of each other. And feels like it's right where my kidney is. I was able to kind of work it out. Hey, work it out, huh? And I went to the, now it's talking to me. Fuck. We went to the Michigan Wolverine, Washington Huskies game. And I got to tell you, sports fans, one of the most underrated stadiums in the country. Washington Huskies football stadium. It's right on the water. Really unique looking stadium. Gorgeous campus. Great fans, great atmosphere, the whole thing. It was an amazing game. Michigan couldn't get anything going. All of a sudden, it was 14-0. We were like, oh, man, this is going to be a blowout. What's going on? And they took out Orgy. I swear to God, that's his name, Orgy. And then they put in Tuttle. And all of a sudden they had like an offense and they came roaring back. And I want to say it was 17-14 at the half. And I was thinking like, and the Michigan's getting the ball after halftime. They're going to go down, score a touchdown, make it 24-14, and then get a 3-and-out. And this game's going to be over. Because once they started moving the ball, all of a sudden Washington couldn't score a touchdown. And their field goal kicker, missed one, had another one blocked. He was real shaky and everything. So it was looking like they were good to go. So then Washington adjusts, and they start doing like this switching off on the quarterbacks. And I got to tell you, they kept trying to run inside, and there would be nothing there. And then the guys would bounce to the outside, and Michigan just wasn't setting the edge. There was nobody staying home. The second he would look like he was going to go in the middle of the line, that guy in the end would start cheating in, and then he would bounce it back out and run around and get like massive gains. And they ended up coming back and beating the Wolverines. It was a great game, and everybody there was cool, man. Like the Washington Huskies fans were really cool, except for one kid. This kid came down, and he was just screaming. I don't know what the hell he was saying, but like 4 Michigan players turned around like, what? And, somebody that was down on the field said, what the hell did he say? He said something, I will fuck you up. And then the kid turned around, looked at everybody else. He goes, why is he so mad? It's just like, dude, like, because you don't know, like you're crossing all these, like that those sports fans that don't know where the line is. It's almost like they watch sports so they can talk about your mother. Like it has nothing to do with the game. And it was such a great game. So that was the only kid that sort of like ruined it. But there's always like one idiot there. But just an amazing, amazing, amazing stadium. All you Midwest people, okay? Now that Washington is in the Big Ten, when your team plays them, 100%, go to that game. You're not going to be disappointed. And Seattle's one of my favorite cities. It's all kinds of great stuff to do. I mean, you could turn it into a whole friggin' weekend. I was kind of against the super conferences, but now that they're like paying the kids, which I think is great. Somebody was trying to tell me, like, someone, like, I don't even know what they're I'm like, what are they making? A couple $100,000? Somebody's like, no, somebody's making like $10 million. I'm like, they're making $10 million? That's fucking amazing. Is that true? Just repeating shit that I heard. So anyway, my back was out. And fortunately, it was such an exciting game. People stood the whole game, and it was actually ended up being really good for my back because sitting down was not a good thing. And I brought all these cigars up, and I was handing them out like I had a kid. And Billy Freckles did not have a cigar. I had 1 cup of coffee. I went to Manifesto Coffee in Tacoma, one of my favorite coffee shops when I'm out on the road. I went in there and I got a latte. I got that on the way to the game. It was delicious. It was amazing. But I'm a tea guy now. Old Billy Teabag. I'm a fucking teabagger, man. I'm telling you. I don't know what the hell my life was the last 2.5 years once I got addicted to like caffeine or whatever was my latest fucking vice. I just spent the last 2.5 years fucking wired out of my mind trying to drink enough water so I could have a fucking normal bowel movement. That's what I did to my body for the last fucking 2.5 years. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And then fortunately, I went to Nashville with Dean, and on the flight back, I caught fucking influenza A, which put me down for like 10 days. And during that 10 days, I didn't have any coffee, and I came out of it. And I was just like, all right, let me see, I mean, maybe I'll just go to the end of the month without it. And I started drinking tea. And I got to admit, when I first drank tea, it tasted like fucking ass. Just like coffee. Just like whiskey. Just like beer. Everything. Every vice tastes like first fucking cigar. Tastes like ass. And then whatever it is, the fucking alcohol, the caffeine, the fucking tobacco, it just gets in you. And you're like, yeah, this is fucking good, you know? It's like, I can't remember the last time I had McDonald's. I haven't had McDonald's in like, maybe like 5 years. I can't even remember. And I have no craving for it whatsoever. It doesn't even make sense. Fast food, I don't eat any of that shit. It's not fucking real food. But I will say this, if I am in a pinch and I get it, if I get McDonald's for like 3-4 days, that grease is still in me. The pink slime, whatever the fuck they have, they scrape up off underneath fucking Ronald McDonald's shoes. And for like 4 days, I'm like, I want McDonald's. And it makes no sense. So anyway, I drink green tea with jasmine, everybody. I told you guys, I texted Nia. I go, Nia, I have something I need to confess. And she's like, what? I go, I like green tea with jasmine. And then I sent a little rainbow. So, anyway, I've been watching the baseball playoffs, trying to watch the football, but October baseball is insane. Please tell me you saw that Mets-Phillies game, game 2. It was insane. Absolutely fucking insane. Mets go up 3-0, and then Bryce Harper comes up, you know, looking like every older kid that bullied me when I was a kid, minus the beard, you know. He just looked like, he just has that face. Where oh God, don't see me. And all of a sudden he just be like, hey, Carrot Top. And I was like, oh God, here we go. Hey, Bryce. So he goes up there, and they have this big fucking meeting at the mound to try to figure out how they're going to pitch Bryce. I believe there was a guy in first base. They had this big fucking meeting. And I would think somebody said, whatever you do, don't give up a home run. Maybe that was just a given. Maybe they didn't say it. And then fucking after the meeting, they go up there, and Bryce just fucking, was it straightaway center? Just crushed the thing. And then the Greek kid after him gets up, hits a fucking home run. And it was 3-0. Philly fans were fucking dead silent. It's like a funeral there. All of a sudden, it's 3-3. So then the Mets come up the next inning. I'm like, Jesus. So I'm rooting for the fucking Mets because F is for Family I did with the great Mike Price from The Simpsons. And he's the biggest Mets fan ever. And it was so funny. Like every year he would come in, he would have a brand new Mets hat. He'd either have the standard one. I remember one year he had the white one with Mr. Met on the front. And he would come in, you know, all excited. They would always start out great. And then somewhere mid-May, beginning of June, he would just walk in. He would go into his office, and it was all glass, right? So you could just see into the offices. Or that's the way we had the offices there, wherever we were renting. It was funny. They weren't private at all. You could just see in there. He would walk in, and he would take his hat off, and he would just throw it across the room. And I always felt bad. He'd come, because he's the nicest guy ever, and he would come walking out, and I go, they starting to lose? And he's like, these fucking guys, every year they do this to me. I don't know, you know, just classic diehard sports fan. Why do I watch? Why do I do this to myself? So I root for them because of him, unless they're playing my Red Sox, right? So anyway, it's 3-3. Then my daughter goes, I want to get a fucking, you know, a costume for Halloween. So then I took her down to the store, and I come back, and it's like 6-6 in the bottom of the ninth. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I don't even know what happened. And all the announcers were saying it was like the greatest game, you know, the game of the year or something like that. So I definitely got to rewatch it. If you get a chance, definitely watch the highlights. It's just unreal. I mean, if the Mets go up 2-0, going back to Shea, I don't give a fuck what the Citibank, whatever the hell, it's Shea. Going back to Shea. Although I remember in '86, the Red Sox won the first 2 games in Shea. Still can't believe that. Like, you win the first 2 fucking games, the other team has to win 4 out of the next 5. And they did it. They came to Boston and they won 2 in a row. Then we win game 5, and you know the rest. But anyway, that doesn't happen a lot unless you were playing the Red Sox before, you know, during that era. We definitely had the ability to do that. But anyway, and and I watched a little bit of the Dodgers Padres before I started this podcast. I think they're up 2-0, and I have this weird thing with sports right now where I just think like the greatest athletes of all time are playing right now. Like the condition that they're in, the shit that they're able to do. Like that 17-year-old kid on Alabama, that catch he made last week, did the 360 spin, and then two guys are closing in on him on Georgia, and he just stops and just hops back, and they bounce into each. Like nobody did shit like that when I was a kid. Didn't happen until maybe like Barry Sanders or whatever. But like I don't even know what the fuck I was watching. I was like, this looks like that's real. Like a human being can do that. You know what I mean? So I love seeing all that. And some of these catches, especially at the collegiate level, it seems like every week somebody's doing a catch. What was that guy in the Giants who made the greatest catch ever? You know the one. He's fucking falling backwards, and he just like reached out with his hand. Didn't even like, it wasn't even the cone of the football hit his palm. He just reached out and grabbed it. The side of it as it was like coming down from the heavens. Odell Beckham. I almost said O to be McDowell. That's how old I am. Odell Beckham. That catch that kid on Minnesota made last week against the Wolverines, like, it's insane. So all of that is insane. But the level of self-congratulatory, I don't get it. I don't fucking understand it. It's like the Phillies when, like, Bryce hits a home run and then the Greek kid after him hits a home run. Like, the level of screaming, and all he did was just, Bryce hit a home run. You would have thought it was the end of the game. Like, the level of celebrating. Like, that happened when you won the pennant when I was a kid. Not you made it. We went from 3-0 to 3-2. 3-2. He's fucking screaming, let's fucking go. And then the other guy gets up, he hits a home run, and he's running down the first baseline. He takes something off, throws it at the dugout. Ah! Like, everybody somehow now, like when I was a kid, you hit a home run, you just trotted around the bases. And if you didn't go around fast enough, the next guy was getting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball right at his fucking chin. And now, like, everybody turns into Gary Oldman in The State of Grace. Remember that? When Sean Penn was the undercover cop and he was delaying, and Gary his character wanted to go down and help out the other guys, and Sean was delaying. I don't know, and then finally just goes, "Let's go!" Every fucking sport, everybody's screaming, "Let's fucking go!" I'm like, I'm here. I'm watching it. I get it. It's fucking 3-2. You're still down by 1. Like, what are we doing here? So, but I've just realized that it's just a different. The game has passed me by. Because I remember when I was a kid, fucking old men would say that. I remember that Chuck Ben Derrick, whatever his name was, a great player for the Eagles. I still remember him on the NFL Network, and they asked him what he thought about today's game, and it was the 1980s. He goes, "What do you think about today's game?" And he goes, "I wouldn't watch a football game today if you fucking pig." Like, he got all, like, fucking wound up. Like he was going to choke a puppy to death. So I'm just falling into I'm trying not to do that. But I don't understand, like, the NBA, nobody's in the paint, and you dunk on nobody and then scream like you're in 300. I don't understand it. Let's fucking go. Where are we going? What are we doing? Is the DJ ever going to stop playing the fucking music? They ever going to stop playing the fucking music? All right, that's it. That's my little fucking old man rant there. What the hell was I going to talk about here? What else? So the back is the back could be better, but it also could be worse. Yeah, I threw it out, and I still did the elliptical. I still did it. I just said, fuck it. I mean, it's going to be out no matter what I do, Might as well work out, Isn't that how that works? I don't know. All I know is I'm doing this podcast because the 3rd episode of The Penguin is on tonight. Me and my wife have been watching that. If you haven't checked that out, Colin Farrell is fucking amazing. There's so many great actors, and it's just, they did this series right. And I like that you got to wait a week. Oh, I'm Billy Old Man this week. In my day, you had to wait a week. You went to work and you talked about the last episode. And there were only 3 channels. Yeah, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching that. But sorry, I'm adjusting myself. I feel like somebody's stabbing me in the kidney. I will tell you this though, like drinking tea. Okay, that's not something a lot of Americans do, right? We're coffee. I'm not tired. Don't be tired, be wired. That's fucking America. And you just keep going. And no matter how much you work, you didn't work enough. And you're still going to get fired, however the fuck everything's working nowadays. But, like, I don't get how tea is so big in England and they're such a fucking psycho country. I find it very relaxing and, like, peaceful as opposed to, like, coffee's like, all right, let's go to the gym, But tea's like, yeah, sit here, think about life, fucking relax. It's amazing that they drank tea all of those years while creating all of these genocides around the planet. Man, that's when you know you're evil, right? You're sitting there drinking green tea with jasmine, and you're still trying to pit fucking dark-skinned people against lighter-skinned people so that you can come in and run their country and take their fucking natural resources. I mean, that's amazing. And anybody from England that wants to shit on America, it's like, hey, dude, we learned that from you guys. We stole your playbook. We're like the Colts when they stole the Patriots' offense and made how we covered their fucking receivers illegal, and then they won a Super Bowl. That's what we are. Speaking of which, I got to get back over there. Oh, I am getting over there. A couple weeks. I got 3 shows in Paris, and I've been brushing up and getting back up, because I fucking, of course, the month before I'm fucking gonna go over there, I catch the flu. I stop fucking working out. I eat like shit. My cunt belly came back. Just a little bit, just enough to be noticed, slipping back into a dad bod where before, I was starting to look like that guy that never got married. That's the best shape you can get in as a dad. You can look like maybe you were never married. Unless you did hard drugs. For some reason, if you did heroin in your 20s, if you survive it, you're like wiry for the rest of your life. Like Keith Richards, that guy doesn't work out. He smokes cigarettes. That guy is in fucking amazing shape. Amazing fucking shape. He's like 80 years old, and he's in better shape than most people by the time they're fucking 28. I don't know what it does. That's going to be the latest diet. The heroin diet. Well, we've taken the addictive part out, but the part that makes you lose the weight, we've kept that in. All right. No, they're not going to do that. Okay, let's do the reads here for this week. Look who it is, everybody. It's old ZipRecruiter. According to research, a major challenge that many employers face is the pressure to hire quickly. And it's a tough hurdle to overcome because it's so time-consuming to search for great candidates and sort through the applications. You don't have time for that. Well, if you're an employer who can relate, I have one question for you. Have you ever tried ZipRecruiter? Huh? ZipRecruiter has figured out how to solve this very problem. In fact, 4 to 5 employers who post on old Zip get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try Zip for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Burr. ZipRecruiter ZipRecruiter is the hiring site employers prefer the most based on G2, whatever the hell that means. How fast does That's the post-nasal drip read. Smart technology starts showing your job to qualified candidates. How fast does it do it? Immediately. Its powerful matching technology works fast. to find top talent so you don't have to waste your time or money. So relax, employers, and let Zip speed up your hiring. I forgot my glasses. Sorry, I can't even see here. See for yourself. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Burr right now. Try it for free. That's the same price as a genuine smile from a stranger. A picture-perfect sunset, or a cute dog running up to you and licking your hand. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/Burr. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, I don't know how to say this. This is F-U-M with the umlauts over the U. Fum? We all have bad habits. Mine or my friends was the kind you think you're doing so well going without. Mine was kind of you think you're doing so well going without. That's a sentence? Mine was the kind you think you're doing so well going without. Am I still speaking English? And then you're out with friends. Is this like a text message? Was this copy? And they're all reaching for their bad habits, and you feel that urge to not be left out and ask to borrow one of theirs. One of their bad habits? Well, what if I was to tell you there's a better alternative that helps you kick your bad habit in an enjoyable way? Something you can take out with you. Flavored air isn't like vaping. I'm selling flavored air. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, fume cores are closer to herbal teas. Oh, you had me at teas, man. Do you have a flavored air that's green tea, jasmine? FUM with the umlauts has lots of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. With flavored air, you can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, vapor, or combustion. FUM with the umlauts over the U fills the void ditching a bad habit can leave. You still have something to reach for. It's not a vape. There is no vapor. You can use it anywhere. There's no nicotine. It's not addictive. This is for people who don't want to get popcorn lung. No toxic flavors. It's a guilt-free alternative. No batteries. You never need to charge it. It looks awesome. Feel the weighted, high-quality design. It continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure safety of their products. It's backed by doctors in the United States. Well, that's not really saying anything. It has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. Yeah, this is great. If you're vaping your brains out and you want to quit, FUM with the umlauts over it. For a limited time, use my code BURR, B-U-R-R, to get a free gift with your Journey Pack. Head to tryfum.com. tryfum.com. That's tryfum.com, and use the code BURR or scan the QR code on screen, if relevant, to get a free gift with your order today. Well, there you go. Oh, by the way, I also played a casino in Tacoma, and I want to thank everybody that came out, and I did my new hour. I did 58 minutes before I had to do the last 15 from my last hour. So I am right on schedule. I'm going to do a bunch of spots this week, and I can't wait. Looking forward to it. Such a good time. I fucking love it up there. Seattle, Tacoma, though, that whole area, it is so friggin' gorgeous. And I'm also psyched. I think they're going to get a basketball team up there. And they should go back to calling them the Supersonics. Not just the Sonics. All right, North Carolina. Bill, I've never written a letter or email to anyone I didn't know personally in my life. Not going to bitch too much because I don't have time, because I'm writing this in my car on my way to drive goods to friends. You may have heard that FEMA, our Government Emergency Response Department, said they were out of money for this year's budget. The current vice president said that they will allot $750 to those who are in need. So last week we sent another $8.5 billion to fight wars. And then after the hurricane, it was announced billions were being sent to aid for the country that is being bombed by a country whose weapons we're paying for. Yeah. One side blows it up, the other side builds it. Yeah, it's the war economy. I'm tired, depressed, not sure why our country doesn't care about us. And by us, I mean all of us. Don't group me. No, I understand that. I know. I'm not talking politics here. I'm shitting on all of them. There are a lot of people who have mobilized from surrounding areas to help, but FEMA is preventing certain groups from help those who need rescuing. Why are they doing that? We had to drive 4 hours extra to bring food to our friends who can't get out. I'll be using a boat to make it around the damaged area. This is all pretty fucked. Yeah, can I ask you a question? Like, why are we just all sitting back, and just watching this shit happen? And then what do? You blame the standing president and whatever party it is. And then the next election, everybody goes to the other side. And then the same shit happens, and then you blame that party. And then somebody else on the other side comes in promising the moon. Is there a way for anybody on the podcast to donate to try and help out? Then you have to watch out because people use, these dirtbags will come up with a fake fucking charity. I remember I used to give to that Wounded Warriors Project. I used to give a percentage of my podcast money to that. And then I found out that was all fucking corrupt. I don't know if they fixed it or whatever, but how do you do that? I don't know. That's super depressing, and I'm sorry you're going through that. And the longer I'm watching this craziness, I really just think it's up to citizens to help other citizens, and we need to kind of just walk away from Democrat and Republican parties because they're not doing shit for us. All they're doing is shit for themselves, lining their own pockets and making sure they're going to be all right when there's no drinking water and the sun is fucking burning up the trees. I don't understand. I don't get it. Oh, boy. All right. Food poisoning response. Hey, Billy Fruit Loop, did you see the responses to the food hearings? There was an article dismissing all those experts as the woo-woo caucus and right-wingers just because the Republicans sponsored the hearings, and some of the people on the panel are advising old orange face there. Wouldn't this be the time to find common ground and just be happy something is being done? Yeah, it would. He says, nope, the powers that be had to have a horn-rimmed journalist dismiss it as fringe. Oh, dude, how does that guy go to sleep at night? The good news is that I think a huge amount of people are aware that they should be making better choices, especially with kids. If you add up the numbers, the chronic illness kids have today is worse than smoking deaths in the 70s. Not all these kids are dying, but they're on the road to bigger problems. Thanks for being you. Yeah, and here's the thing. Way less people smoke than in the 70s. So we're going to turn this around. All right? Just keep demanding that you should know what's in your food. And that, when there's hurricanes, earthquakes, fires, whatever the fuck it is, our tax dollars that we've paid should be used to help us. I don't know. Is that asking too much? Evidently it is. Landlording. Hey, Mr. Freckled Testicles. Never thought I would write to the podcast, but this really just happened. All right, so somebody wrote in when was saying that their boyfriend was thinking of buying an investment property and becoming a landlord, and his girlfriend was getting the ick because he was going to be making money off the backs of hardworking people and blah, blah, blah. Basically, the argument was that all landlords are pieces of shit, and anybody who rents a place is the salt of the earth, most honest, fucking respectable person ever. So obviously, when you speak in absolutes like I love to do, there's in the middle is the truth. So now we're hearing from landlords who are telling us their nightmare stories of what it's like to be a landlord. I own a duplex and rent out the downstairs apartment. I never wanted to be a landlord and never wanted to rent out the apartment, but my girlfriend insisted. All right, let's just stop there. If you didn't want to do it, if your girlfriend doesn't want to do something and then you fucking continue to insist that she does it, how does that play out? Huh? I love how no means no with women, but no does not mean no with men. I don't want to do this. I insist. All right. Well, at the end of the day, dude, you should have just said, no, I'm not doing it. Anyway, the guy says, all right, my girlfriend insisted, so I gave in like we do as males. I don't give in on shit like that. I give in on bullshit. All right, I'm watching the Mets fucking Phillies game. It's tied up. It's the playoffs. Can you take our daughter out to go get a costume room? Yes, I give in on that. I can always tape the fucking game, but I'm not going to change. I don't want to become a fucking landlord. I'm not doing that. Anyway, the guy says, I got home from work the other day and my tenant said he needed new air filters. Okay, no problem. I bought new air filters. The size was slightly wrong, but still did the job. I mean, barely wrong in the size. 2 days later, he says he's sick and it's my fault. He's 32 and we are in our 50s. We, of course, laughed at him. And then 2 days later, he comes upstairs, busts into my house and attacked me screaming, "You made me sick." He seriously fucked up. He went to jail and now I have to wait 30 days until he is evicted. Does the ick lady think that this is sitting back and collecting money? Wait, dude, he burst into your house like some crazy Kramer? I hope her man has left her by now. I love you, Billy boy. Go diddle yourself, you ginger cunt. Oh, dude, please tell me when your girlfriend was going like, oh my God, that's crazy. And you should have been like, yeah, this is why I didn't want to be a landlord. But you insisted. You want to go down there and roll around with them on the kitchen floor like I just did? I mean, you at least owe me a hand job, something. You're right, make me a breakfast. Are you going to get anything out of this? Fucking unreal. All right, landlord story. Hey, Billy, the slum lord. What's it say here? Small-time landlord here reaching out with a personal experience. I rent out an apartment that is attached to my house in a rural town in Vermont. I have a full-time job, and this is not a source of income for me. The rent helps out with the property taxes and usually covers repairs. I rented my apartment to a young woman a few years ago who ended up having a mental breakdown after signing the lease. One day, I went in to repair a leak under the sink and was instantly hit in the face by a wave of unbearable stench. Unbeknownst to me, she had gotten 3 cats despite my no-pet policy. She had a litter box but did not clean it. Cat feces were overflowing onto the ground. The cats were clearly neglected and starving because they had shredded the blinds trying to get out. Apparently, she was also afraid of bugs and never opened the windows for ventilation. Oh my God, she could die in there. She wasn't taking out her trash and was the worst hoarder I had ever seen. It took me a few months, but eventually she moved out, but left everything she owned. I took 1,700 pounds of trash to the dump and found maggots in her bed. Oh my God. I had to rip out the flooring, underlayment, and subflooring as the cat urine had soaked down through. I had to buy a special odor-blocking primer and sealed every inch of the apartment. I took 4 weeks of time off of work. Instead of going on vacation with my wife, I spent over 200 hours sweating and smelling like cat piss and mold. Dude, please tell me you wore some sort of mask for the mold, not even for the cat piss.
I billed her for what I thought was a reasonable amount of the damages and ended up getting death threats from her father, who told me he would bring me and my family endless pain and suffering. They eventually paid up after I contacted the police, but I had to put about $7,500 of my own money into fixing the apartment, and it will take me years to become whole again. Being a landlord has brought me many sleepless nights. Not sure the juice is worth the squeeze sometimes. Lots of people don't understand everything that goes into making a home safe and livable. Repairs, snow removal, lawn maintenance, trash, utilities, and then the taxes and insurance keep rising. Thanks for all the laugh, and go evict yourself. All right, I think we got one more landlord thing here. Oh, dude, you guys, that fucking lady brought him out. Landlord levity. Hey, Billy Breadsticks. Pretty heated debate going on here with the fucking landlords. Just wanted to add my 2 cents. I'm 33 and have been paying, this is from a renter. And I've been paying my rent solo since literally a week after high school ended. No mommy, daddy bucks for me, as in actual zero. Not a dime from them. I can confidently say rent/housing is nowhere near as affordable as it was when I started out in 2009. Yeah, gee, I wonder why that is. You have a never-ending war that costs you $8.5 billion a fucking month. They just keep printing money every fucking August. That's going to happen. The same exact jobs I worked would not pay the rent at the exact same apartments/rooms I rented. Not even close. You're a bit older than me, man. It's almost laughable how affordable it was back for me back then. If you're really honest with yourself, you would say the same, and rent/housing was even more affordable when you were coming up. Yeah, and what you're going to do now is you're going to blame the landlords. And what it is everything went up. You heard the last guy was saying the insurance goes up, the property tax, everything goes up. They're destroying the middle class is what they're doing with the greed at the top. And if people could just keep their eye on the handful of rich white people and stop giving into racism and fear of foreigners and all of that, if we could all just get on the same fucking... It's never going to happen. I mean, the machine is just too fucking good. Look up the exact same apartments you rented in New York when you were starting your career. I guarantee you couldn't afford them now with the money you were making back then. Dude, I lived in a fucking walk-through bedroom, okay? I didn't go down and get a fucking one-bedroom apartment. New York has always been unaffordable. I lived... The guy had his name on the lease. I had the walk-through bedroom, and Bobby Kelly lived in the living room. We were like on top of each other. New York has always been that way. Anyways, I said, I guarantee you couldn't afford them now with the money made back then. Then you would have never had a chance to start your career, and you'd be another Joe six-pack hucking brick in a cubicle or driving a rig. That's not true, dude. That's not true. I lived at home until I was 27. I paid for my own fucking college education. I paid off my fucking student loans, and I saved up 10 grand living at home like a fucking loser until I was almost 30. Because I understood money enough to know that I didn't want to be carrying this debt and moving to the most expensive city in the fucking country. And then I ate fucking rigatoni or spaghetti every single fucking night with Prego and Nissen bread. I did that forever. That's what the fuck I did. All right, so let's not romanticize like I went there and I had a 2 fucking car garage in a doorman. I get that you don't think corporations like BlackRock should exist, and they shouldn't. Single-family homes should not be owned by corporations at all. I agree with that. It's been devastating to not just America, but the world. The sheer magnitude of it now is not something that the world has even faced before, and it plays a major role in artificially inflating demand and therefore the price of housing, and it bleeds people dry. Yes, I agree with all of that, but that's not landlords doing that. I'm talking about like the guy like who's renting out the bottom floors of his house or the top floor or whatever. I wasn't talking about BlackRock. However, smaller landlords become death by 1,000 cuts. An easy solution would be no individual can own more than 4 single-family homes, and corporations can't own any. Yeah, that would have been the easy solution. But a certain somebody deregulated corporations in the 80s. That guy they paraded around the country for fucking 200 days when he died because he made him so much fucking money by taking all the rules off. And they lied to him, saying that if he deregulated them, it was going to give them the ability to operate, without any, buddy pulling on the reins, and they were going to create all of this wealth that was going to trickle down to all the regular people, and they didn't. They kept it. Also, Airbnb shouldn't exist. I like all these points. Also, since these landlords that are writing in are just so busy with their couple of properties and it's a full-time job, then 4 properties should be more than enough. 1 to live in and 3 to rent. The world should be like the one you grew up in and I got to experience for about a decade of being an adult. Would you agree with that? If not, then why should we be kicked down? Then why should the latter be kicked down? Yeah, well, it's gotten progressively worse. Like when I was in the 70s, the mailman, the milkman, the diaper man, these were all jobs, and they just drove trucks during the day, and they made enough money and had benefits that they owned a house. They still had 1 car or whatever, and they had a stay-at-home wife. If she wanted to work, she could. And there was benefits. I saw the tail end of that. And in the 70s and 80s, all the industry left this country. So in my lifetime, I've seen it get worse like 4 or 5 times. And I remember, with inflation, dude, you got to remember, like I was working, minimum wage was like $3 and fucking 50 cents an hour, and a house was 180 grand where I lived. If you were going to get like a decent sized Garrison Colonial. They went anywhere from like 125 up to like, it wasn't like mansions or anything like that, but if you got something in the 200,000s, but they've always been having you chasing the carrot. Like, and I remember guys I worked with in the warehouse and kids I went to high school with were all buying nice cars because they were like, I'm never going to be able to afford a house. It was already starting back then. And now but there was still enough left over, and there was still enough union jobs and all of that. And then the 90s was pretty prosperous. But still, also in the 90s, like Clinton was the guy that did the last deregulation of the banks that led to 2008. And I don't think we've ever recovered from that. That just took so many people out. Their life savings, everything that they worked for, and none of those bankers went to jail. Once again, that small group of white people at the top that controls the fucking narrative and has half this country thinking one thing, the other half thinks the other, and we're just at each other's throats, Hatfield and fucking McCoy's. So I will tell you this, it was never easy. All right? And I bounced around a bunch of jobs before I figured out what the fuck I wanted to do. And I really had no plan on how the fuck I was ever going to own a house. I just started doing comedy, and I got lucky, and I caught some breaks, and I started selling tickets. That's basically how it went. But like, I don't know. It's just gotten progressively worse and worse and worse. And what's funny is all we do is blame each other. Like now generations are like doing what you're doing, going, yeah, hey, it was way easier when you were coming up. And then it just like creates fucking arguments when we're all living right now. We're all getting fucked by that same group of people, but all we do is, it's genius. We just always end up fucking yelling at each other. I think it's terrible that, like, if this corporations were buying up houses, you know, when I was coming up, if that was going up back then, by the time I could afford a house, which was in 2011, when I was 43 years old, was when I first bought a house. I wouldn't have been able to afford it. And I think it's fucking ridiculous. You watch, Kamala's not going to bring it up. Trump's never going to bring it up. And they're not going to bring up the food supply. They're not, it's just forget those people. They're working for that small group of white people at the top. All right? And we should all be like helping each other out. I don't know how the fuck to do it, but at least we could stop yelling at each other. You know, I was kind of thinking, you know, it would be amazing if just nobody voted. We never said anything. Somehow we all got organized and just nobody fucking voted. Because this is just going to be more of the same with these two idiots that they have, right? And if nobody fucking voted, but nobody talked about not voting, like how fucking freaked out that 1% at the top would be, like what's going on. And it would just be fascinating if we all knew that we weren't voting, and then watching CNN and Fox News, watch if they report that nobody's voting, or just see if it's just a show. And they just go through it and they just start acting like, oh, Kamala won New Hampshire, Trump got Vermont. Would the show still go on? Like, what would happen? Or would they freak out and then there would magically be some sort of, you know, attack on this country or whatever the fuck, just so they could, I don't know. I'm jaded. Don't listen to me. Anyways, the land, what is this guy? Okay. That landlady talking about her old landlord that rented to her with no background check and didn't raise her rent for 5 years is either a lie or a complete outlier. No, believe it or not, there's people out there like that. There's actually honest people. They're just not corporations. Dude, you're a pragmatic guy. Even if that is true, you really going to use an outlier anecdote to be like, well, see, that landlord provided a service and is one of the good ones. But he is. He is. There's good comedians, there's bad comedians, there's honest politicians, there's corrupt politicians, there's good cops, there's terrible cops. You're speaking in absolutes, like all of these fucking people, this fucking guy, these people, they're renting out part of their house. Why are they doing it? Because they need the income. They're not doing it because they're going to become filthy fucking rich off of your hard-earned dollars. You're lumping everybody into these giant conglomerates that own fucking apartment buildings. I don't agree with that. He says, come on now, how many fucking landlords you think would do shit like that? Zero. The answer is zero. It's not zero. It's a small amount. Like, what study did you do? You did no study and you just you're like zero. The answer is zero. Bill, don't be ridiculous. You've been out of the working class for a long time. I knew that was coming. The fuck are you talking about? How have I been out of the working class for a long time? How have I been out of the working class? I go to every fucking state, I go to every fucking city, and I perform in front of fucking working class people. My job is working class. It is. Being a stand-up comedian is a fucking working class job. But then if you're fucking lucky enough to get to the level that I'm at, you finally fucking make money. But dude, you're skipping over when I was in my 30s and had no fucking manager, agent, no wife, no kids, sleeping on a fucking futon, having to beat down the thoughts that I might be the guy that doesn't make it because 99% of us don't. Dude, go fuck yourself. If you're going to pull that fucking card that I don't know what it's like to fucking work for, I'm a fucking self-made man. All right? And you think I don't have relatives that are struggling and I don't listen to them? You don't think I don't talk to people after fucking shows? Dude, you started off like really reasonable and now you're just a douche. Now you're somebody I would walk away from if I was in a bar. been out of the working class for a long time. It took me into my 40s to fucking make it, you asshole. Spent 20 fucking years on the road. You go fucking do that. You go fucking play Chilkoot Charlie's in fucking Anchorage, Alaska, and sleep in a fucking bed that is literally broken in half fucking the long way. Go fuck yourself. I fucking hate when people do that shit. Anyway, you were griping that people get upset over landlords and rent/housing prices when they should be upset with bankers and the food supply and whatnot, which they totally should. That shit is outrageous. But you're kind of spaced from the immediate reality of coughing up nearly a mortgage for rent at some shitty place now. I'm not spaced from that. I'm not spaced from that. Let me tell you something, you fucking cunt. Do you know what happens when you make money? People that need it ask for it. You think I'm just fucking sitting here? You don't think I'm helping anybody out? You don't think I know what the fuck's going on? You're talking out your fucking ass. I'm done with this fucking email. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. I fucking hate that shit. All of a sudden, I never unloaded trucks. All of a sudden, I didn't have a paper route from the time I was in 3rd grade. I kept delivering papers when I had a fucking car. I paid for my own fucking college education. Go fuck yourself. I'm fucking sitting here. Well, I am drinking tea now. Oh my God. That reminds me of something somebody said to me one fucking time. I can't get into the fucking details, but they found out a detail of my fucking life. And they go, oh, so this whole guy that you are is bullshit. I wanted to reach across and rip the fucking voice box right out of their fucking neck. It's like, this is the thing about people. You have no idea who they are or what the fuck they went through, okay? And you don't go around doing what that fucking cunt just did. Been out of the fucking working class for a long time. I literally want to meet this fucking guy, and I'm going to sit down and tell him some fucking stories of what the fuck you have to do, and what's going on in the housing market right now is going on in this business, in my business. My business is over. It's fucking over. It was taken over by 3 tech nerds, and all of these fucking content people that have been making shit for 100 years are going to go out of business, and there's going to be 3 fucking people, and they're going to run all of it, and they're not going to pay any of us shit. And making a movie or making a TV show is as difficult as it's ever been, and they're just going to pay costs for everything, and they're going to keep all the fucking money. That's what's going on. Does that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like whatever business you're in? It's just shrinking, and there's like 5 people at the top making all the money, and everybody else can go fuck themselves. But whatever, yeah. Talk about me, talk about my fucking life and my fucking job, because you do studies. 0, Bill. The answer is 0. All right, girlfriend feels trapped by cuddles. Well, how hard are you holding on to her? Hey, oh, this one might be the best one ever, and very fitting of this podcast. Hey, raging carrot catastrophe. That's probably the most accurate description of me ever. I need some of your wisdom here because my girlfriend just dropped a bomb on me. Apparently, I'm smothering her with cuddles. Well, then fucking back off. Yeah, cuddles. I thought I was just being affectionate, but she says it's like being trapped in a warm, sweaty prison every night. Her words, not mine. Yeah, dude. There's a fine line between cuddling and holding somebody captive. I know exactly what she's talking about. It usually goes the other way. You know when your girlfriend's just laying on your chest with her fucking hair in your face, and after a while it's like, will you fucking get off of me so I can breathe? I haven't had a decent breath of oxygen in like 17 minutes. He goes, look, I'm trying to be the good boyfriend. I go for the classic spooning, thinking we're all having a nice, cozy moment. But no, she's lying there plotting her escape like she's in the Shawshank Redemption. Ah, Jesus Christ. Just picturing a cat playing with a mouse. Every time I wrap my arms around her, I feel like she's going to tunnel through the mattress to freedom. So why don't you take the hint? So now I'm stuck. Do I ease up on the cuddles? Yes! And risk being called emotionally distant? You're not going to with her. She's clearly not a cuddle person. Or do I keep going and get accused of being the clingiest guy since Velcro was invented? I'm sure you got a take on this. I could use some of your no BS advice before she declares a no cuddle zone. Thanks and go fuck yourself, our heat stroke hero. Yeah, like, I don't even know where to begin with this. Okay, this is for men and women, okay? When you're in a relationship, okay, and the person says, stop that, I don't like it, you stop. That's basically it. Now, there's a lot of information out there for men about that. Not a lot for women. I don't want to be a landlord. I don't give a shit. Be a landlord. You know, she should have been out there helping you clean that fucking place out. Anyway, I'm fucking upset with myself that I let that guy get me so fucking upset. But like, you know, we're supposed to all be on this. This is why we're human beings, we can never get on the same page. He couldn't just say what the fuck he felt without just inventing numbers and then trying to make me feel guilty because I bet on the fucking 2 zillion to 1 horse and it came in. Then all of a sudden, I'm like fucking, you know, I'm out of touch with fucking reality. Anyway, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I think we're all kind of out of touch with reality because we're all living in our own fucking world on our phones. It's a whole other fucking argument. Anyway, evidently I didn't drink enough tea today. That's just been the podcast. This is a fucking heated one. It started off silly, and then it got upset, you know? Got very upsetting. It's like taking that family drive on a vacation. Your dad's all manic and excited for the first fucking half a state. Then by the end of it, your mom's crying. All right. I think I had that podcast. All right. That didn't trigger you. All right. That's the podcast, everybody. Go fuck yourself. I didn't even talk football this week. I talked college football. I did do that. All right. I got to go. That's it. I will check in on you on Thursday.